So a bit about Ben. He loved singing and performing on stage since his youth, graduated from Brown University with a concentration in Judaic studies, graduate studies at the Jewish Theological Seminary, including a master's in sacred music, along with a cantorial degree. Recently finished his 4th year of chaplaincy training, having served in both hospice and elder care facilities. And he has most recently become a middle school course teacher. And he currently lives in Colombia with his wife and daughter. Hello, Ben.
Hello, Cassandra. I had an exciting audio moment just now. Fun pro tip for all of you listening at home. If you have enough tabs open and you attend the conference multiple times, you get free echo. So I was in my own session 3 times, which has some meta meeting we can discuss during the Q&A. I was in my session. I was watching my session. I was watching my session. So really interesting acoustics. So there's your pro tip. Only watch one window of this fabulous presentation. Cassandra, I'm so glad to be here with you.
I know. I'm so excited. So yeah, basically we're going to have a little peer into the world of this musical that you've created, and we are so excited. Yeah, please share whatever you'd like about it, or you can just hop into it. But yeah, the space is yours to do whatever you wish.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
thanks everyone for joining in. I'm from across the pond in Columbia, Maryland, and hello to all of my new friends in England and all the suburbs of England. Like, I know Australia and England are close, right? Just kidding. I know we're from all over the world. I'm glad we're all together. And thank you so much for staying up. For me, it's only 5 o'clock, but you're past your bedtime to watch this, and I do appreciate it. To quote my musical hero, Jay-Z, y'all could have been anywhere in the world tonight, and you chose to be here with me, and I appreciate that. So here we go. Welcome to Life Review, the Hospice Musical, Stories and Songs, a virtual cabaret play. The original project was conceived by yours truly, Benjamin Kintish. I'm the creator. I wrote the lyrics and script, and I originated the part of Rabbi David Goodman, the main character. Our creative team includes composers Jason Spiewak of New Jersey and Michael Miller of New York, with additional music by Andy Basov of Illinois and Miriam Cook of Maryland. Script co-writers are me, Ben Kintish, and Beth Broadway. That is her actual name. She's of Seattle, Washington. And this script for the cabaret show, Stories and Songs, was written by yours truly. So everyone, welcome. And is it good afternoon or is it good evening? I guess that depends. Oh, it's all good, Cassandra. You can stay on, get off. Is there an echo? There's no echo. We're beautiful. Can you tell me in the chat, lifting the lid, do we still sound okay? Just reassure me.
You're perfect.
Oh, thanks, Cassandra. I learned it from watching you. Welcome, everyone, and good evening. And welcome to the show. Before we begin, let me ask you all to turn off your ringers. Note the fire exits in your own home. Please use them in case of an emergency. But if there is an emergency in the middle of a song, I ask you to use discretion, right? Based on the seriousness of the emergency versus how compelling the song is. Fair? Please do not leave until the show is over. I have magic chaplain eyes, so I can see through my laptop to wherever you are. So if you wander away from the camera, I know it. All right. Now, a little bit about the story of Life Review, the Hospice Musical. This is a project I began over 4 years ago, though I have an edit here. I think it's 5 or 6 now. A lot of years ago, inspired by my own real life experiences as a beginner chaplain working in a residential hospice. Real life people, real life patients, and real life staff alike, all inspired characters who are composites of real people I visited during those times. This musical began as a concept. Sketches in a notebook inspired by stories heard bedside became songs. I later worked over 2 years with 3 wonderful composers to help me pair my words with their beautiful melodies. Jason Spiewak of Westfield, New Jersey, Michael Miller of Rochester, New York, and Andy Basov of the Chicago area. We are in early development, though in the midst of a very exciting virtual tour. We have had 2 live workshop performances, that is IRL, as the kids say, in Portland, Oregon in 2019 at a national Jewish education conference called New Cage at Reed College, and in Columbia, Maryland, just before the pandemic started in January of 2020. Now, due to the pandemic, we are bringing this new work of theater to the public through our virtual tour 2021, and you are now part of it. Friends at home, hello. Thanks for being with us. Please stay to the end when everyone who is with us can have a chance to ask questions to me, the creator and lyricist for the project. Today's performance is crafted around 8 songs that are highlights of a full-length musical that will be eventually 16 songs, 2 acts. My hope is that someday soon, when live theater is safe again, and we're getting there, get your shots, get your boosters, wear your mask. My hope is that someday soon, we will be showing this full-length work for live audiences. But until then, I am so glad to be with all of you and share this new work of theater with you today. Live from the United States, the international and British debut. Without further ado, let's begin. We don't mean to be a bummer, but we've got some awful news. It gets colder after summer, and even winners lose. Robert Frost composed on one fine day in a most poetic way. He wrote, "Nothing gold can stay." That's what he said, and now he's dead because, spoiler alert, everybody dies in the end. Sorry to ruin the play, my friend. Love 'em or hate 'em, this cannot bend. Everybody dies in the end. We all go when we gotta go, you hear. Every single person you know, my dear. The neighborly Ned who you just despise. Your trustworthy friend, the guy who lies. The holy sister never sinned in her life. Your father, your mother, your husband or wife. The hero and the villain of each tall tale. The sailor who battled a full force gale. Spoiler alert. Everybody dies in the end. Sorry to ruin the play, my friend. Love 'em or hate 'em, this cannot bend. Everybody dies in the end. It's the truth, Ruth. It's sad, Vlad. It ain't pretty, Kitty, but it's real, Camille. It's common for all of us. No matter how you feel, no matter your name or country or game, it's the same. It's the same. The man who's gentle and noble and smart. The woman who woke the world with her art. The boy who lived with a baboon heart. They all leave the stage when they're done with their part. Our curtain is up, we will do our thing. We hope you don't cry every time we sing. Whether you're married or you got no ring. The loneliest pauper, the loftiest king. We all gotta die. We all gotta die. Just sing, just sing. Just sing, just sing. Kick line, everybody dies in the end. Hurry to ruin the play, my friend. Love 'em or hate 'em, this cannot bend. Everybody, everybody, everybody. Everybody dies in the end. Everybody dies in the end. Picture, if you will, a warm and breezy September afternoon. A youngish man with a knit yarmulke atop his head is seen crouching down in the dirt, trowel in hand. He is planting daffodil bulbs in memory of his mother, who had died at that hospice a year earlier. He is also, we soon discover, the new chaplain. The nurse, Marie St. Clair, approaches mistaking the new rabbi for the new gardener. Removing his muddy gloves, Rabbi David introduces himself to Marie and awkwardly shakes her hand. After some pleasantries, he admits to his new colleague that he feels daunted by his new job. There's just so much dying, he laments. It's a hospice, you know. That's what the people are coming here to do, she quips. Nurse Marie welcomes Rabbi David by sharing a little bit about the philosophy of hospice care. She says to him, "Yeah, it's a hospice, so lots of dying. Ain't no avoiding that, but dying's not so bad. Lots of people die here. They turn out fine. You know, Rabbi, I just hope when I die, I get treated this nice. What we do here is we put them at ease during their dying days. You ever heard of Cicely Saunders? She's the lady who wrote the book on hospice because she started the whole concept back in England. Like here, she explains." Cicely Saunders explains. No, that is not the right song. Sorry, folks. Hold on a minute. Technical difficulties. So sorry. That's the song we want. Even in hospice care, the AV doesn't always work. I will do all I can and share the moments you live. Laugh with you and cry until the moment you die, and die in peace. Even when you're dying, you are holy. Even when you're broken, you are whole. I will walk with you while you're on your way. I will talk with you so you have your say. Be here by your side until the final day. Oh, I am here for you, so live until you die. Live until you die. We'll take away your pain, do as much as we can. Honor the dignity of each woman and man, to die in peace. Even when you're dying, you are holy. Even when you're broken, you are whole. We will walk with you as you're on your way. We will talk with you so you have your say. Standing by your side till the final day. Oh, we are here for you, So live until you die. Oh, live until you die. Scene 3. Rabbi David starts his job as the new chaplain. He is eager and caring, but sometimes nervous and often awkward. Simply put, he stumbles again and again. He wants to say the smartest thing, and he often says the most foolish thing. One particularly painful experience happens while visiting a mother and her 25-year-old son. The young man is dying of cancer. Rabbi David puts his foot in his mouth, cheerfully invoking the story of Job. His ill-advised words infuriate the mother, and she casts him out. Rabbi David laments, "What if I'm not up to this? What if I don't know what to say?" If there ever was a time for divine intervention, it would be now. God, can you hear me? Even when I've nothing to say, when nothing is going my way, God, are you near me? Will you be with me whenever I'm stuck in despair and all of the world is unfair? Please, God, see me. God, what if I can't say a word or it comes out wrong? God, tell me if asking's absurd. Do you like my song? Send me a sign from where you are. Are you near or far or in between? I have seen so many seekers. I am one too. It's time for you to send me a sign. Oh, send me a sign. I'm wondering about some big things. Can you tell me why you made both my parents die and left me in pieces? I wanna find out. Tell me how not to feel so alone whenever rain soaks me to the bone. Answer with rainbows. Is there a lesson to learn from the pain all around? From the sound of tears in the dark? Send me a sign from where you are. Are you near or far or in between? I have seen so many seekers. I am one too. It's time for you Please, God, send me a sign. Oh, send me a sign. Oh, send me a sign. Our story continues. Scene 4. And over time, our hero, Rabbi David, begins to learn. He opens his ears and his heart a little more with each visit. He discovers how to better minister to his dying patients and those who love them. Instead of preaching and teaching, he learns from Nurse Marie that he needs to ask the kind of questions that help the people share the stories of their lives. As you listen to this song, consider how you might answer some of these questions if given the chance to share a highlight reel of your life. Life review. Hi, I'm the chaplain. I'd like to visit with you. May I join you? Tell me, who are you? What did you do? Where did you go? And who did you know? Who did you love? Who did you lose? When you had a choice, how did you choose? So tell me your story, give a glimmer of your glory, how you got to here and now. I am here to hear you now. We are here to hear you now. Life review, sing of joys and heartbreaks. We can hear your voice even as it fades. Life review, through the triumph and the sorrows, with more yesterdays than tomorrows. Time to do a life review. Tell me about your mom and dad. What was the best job you had? And how about when your health got bad? And when did you feel fine? Where did you live? And where did you move to? What were the records you used to groove to? Is there time enough to ask all that I must? You can tell me your secrets if I earn your trust. What are you proud of? Are you carrying shame? Did you ever get married? What was their name? Too soon I have to go. Too soon you have to go. But now life review, sing of joys and heartbreaks. We can hear your voice even as it fades. Life review, through the triumphs and the sorrows with more yesterdays than tomorrows. Time to do a life review, sing of joys and heartbreaks. We can hear your voice even as it fades. Life review, through all the triumph and the sorrow, with more yesterdays than tomorrows. Time to do a little life review. Scene 5. Leroy Washington is a relatively chipper guy, considering that he is 102. A friendly and lively African-American man, he quickly befriends our young rabbi early in the play. Mr. Washington is a man who played organ in the Black church, accompanying sermons and gospel choirs for over 40 years in Brooklyn. As a nod to that culture, listen in this song with the musical echoes of the African-American church music tradition. Now, like every older person, Leroy deals with pain and loss related to his body and its decline. When he was younger, he could play 5 services on Christmas Day. Now, 85 years after his teenage church organ debut, one of his hands doesn't even work. He can't play his music anymore. Leroy is stuck in his bed wishing he were younger and able to play music like he used to. But in singing this song, Leroy expresses gratitude for a life well lived and the holy body that carried him through it with these hands. With these hands, I played for the Lord. When the preacher spoke, I prayed with a chord. The choir filled the room each Sunday with song. And every holy key-struck hammer was blessed to play along. With this voice, I sang the Lord's praise, alone or in harmony. I sanctify a day's vow. Through melody we spoke the language of love. Gratitude for life and for the audience above. With these feet I raise to stand up. Oh, when they needed us, I raised my hand up. With this voice too, I sang the Lord's praise, alone or in harmony. Oh, making holy our days. Through melody we spoke in the language of love. Gratitude for life and for the audience above. with these hands. I played for the Lord over and over again. We all said amen, all sang amen. Scene 6. Stella Santini is a woman of 55 in the hospice for terminal cancer. She lies in her bed, drifting in and out of dementia, in and out of a delirium, as her adult son sits next to her, holding her hand. Tony and Stella together reminisce of winters years ago when the family went skiing in New England, in Western Massachusetts. Stella sits up in bed and sings about the snowy winters of New England, which she so loved. She wonders what will happen to her family and to the whole world after she dies. Will it still snow? I remember when the winter came, green mountains painted white. When the storm rolled through, I always knew that we would be all right. Some folks hate New England winters, but I always love the snow. The dazzling light dressed the town in white. It's where I want to go, but I have to know, will it still snow when I'm gone? And how do I know they go on? Will the lovers keep flirting? Will my family keep on hurting because I'm gone? When I'm gone. Will daffodils still fill each April bouquet? Will the tulips still bloom to open May? Will the trees remember in September to turn from green to gold? Will the rest of my friends grow old? And will it still snow when I'm gone? And what if the whole one moves on? Will young love still shimmer? Will the glowing sunset glimmer? Will a rainbow still come after the rain? And what if I never see the snow again? I know my whole world is ending. So is the whole world ending? I have to stop pretending that I get a happy ending. But I hope and I pray that somehow, some way, Winter will come again. Winter will come again. Winter will come again. Scene 7. It's late in the day, and it's late in the play, and before Rabbi David heads to his car to drive home, he pops into his friend Leroy's room for a quick visit. They talk together quietly, and after a few playful pleasantries, Leroy says, "Rabbi, I'm feeling tired." Rabbi David offers to play him a lullaby to help him fall asleep. Leroy nods weakly and smiles in the most subtle way. Rabbi David sits near the bed and he plays the following song. Lay on back, rest your head, lay thee down, safe in bed. Close your eyes, darling dear, you drift away, I'll stay right here. Time to sing a lullaby, sing a soft, sincere goodbye. Tuck you in for a dream so sweet, heaven awaits, your life's complete. Hold your hand, wipe your tear, soothe your face, soothe your fear. You are holy, your life's been blessed. Now my love, it's time to rest. Time to sing a lullaby, sing a soft, sincere goodbye. Tuck you in for a dream so sweet, heaven awaits, your life's complete. So rest in peace, rest in peace, rest in peace, rest in peace. We close this evening's cabaret presentation with the closing song of the full-length musical, the aptly named, "In the End, I Thank You." Excuse me. Pro tip, it's always good to burp during the narration and not the song. All right, now that that's out of the way, we're back. The daffodils you saw Rabbi David plant in September are now blooming. Even though we have met friends and lost friends along the way, the flowers give us a visual reminder that life goes on. And after the winter, the spring will come again with new life and new hope. This song was written as a sincere expression of gratitude. I am grateful for all of us, all of you, pardon me. Thanks for the kind words. I'm grateful for all of you with us today. Thank you for watching and listening. Special thanks to Joe and Victoria, who have organized this fabulous festival. I'm hoping the next year we can be IRL so I can visit England. I've never been. I hear you guys have great Indian food. Anyway, thanks for including me. It's been a real honor. I also want to publicly offer gratitude for all of the caregivers out there, whether they're included in our audience or just out in our communities, right? The nurses, the doctors, the GNAs, the CNAs, the chaplains, social workers, maintenance workers, cleaning workers, security workers, really everyone who helps do the holy work of caring for people who are elderly, frail, or seriously ill in the hospice world, and even more broadly in the clinical care world and the elder care world. Their work is difficult and at times thankless, even in the best of times, right? Sadly, during the COVID-19 pandemic, which continues, their work has become even more challenging in so many ways. So I just want to honor their work and dedicate my performance tonight to those caregivers and workers. After I'm done with the final song, we'll have about 15 minutes Q&A. Ask me anything style, and I guess I'll answer the questions I like. Well, while I sing, you can write your questions in the chat box, and I think our moderator will help read them aloud one at a time. Please do check out our website, lifereviewmusical.com. That's all one word. And if you enjoyed tonight's show, please tell a friend about it, share it, and help grow the project. Our Instagram handle is @lifereviewmusical. And if you want to sign up or get in touch, sign up for a newsletter or get in touch, please check out the website. And the last thing I want to mention before I sing the final song is we are in the midst of our virtual tour, and I would love to bring this work of theater through the computer to your, thank you, lifting the lid for the plug, to your community, wherever you are in the world. If you have an internet connection, I'd love to bring this to you, as well as teaching that goes with it. So our final song, In the End, I Thank You, and then we'll open for questions. In the end, I better learn how to use my iPad. That's another pro tip. Here we go. All right. Take two. In the end, I thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. Thank you to everyone who cares for our loved ones. In the end, I thank you for loving me every day. In the end, I thank you, so close yet far away. In the end, I thank you for hearing hopes and sorrows. In the end, I thank you for just being here. Pray for me, hold my hand. Stand with me while I can stand. Rest is coming soon. I thank you for letting me be in your room. Light of your hope brightened the gloom. In the end, I thank you for seeing through the nonsense. In the end, I thank you for being your holy self. In the end, I thank you, my newest best friend. In the end, I thank you for grace at the end. Pray for me, hold my hand. Stand for me while I can stand. Rest is coming soon. I thank you for letting me be in your room. Light of your hope brightened the gloom. So grateful to have met you, wonderful you, wonderful you. In the end, I thank you for your love. In the end, I thank you over and over again. In the end, I thank you so much. In the end, I thank you for your sweet and gentle touch. I thank you. I thank you. Oh, I thank you. I thank you. Oh, I thank you. I thank you. Oh, I thank you.
Thank you so much, Ben.
Encore! Encore! Oh,
You know, in a Zoom age, the standing ovation is so unflattering, and yet,
Yeah.
I mean, all three of you have beautiful midsections, but I'm not going to go into it. You know. Anyway, we're being recorded, so I better keep it family friendly. But it is the 10 o'clock show, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh man,
And we're
people
in
are
the
going to
UK
discover
then.
how much cantors and rabbis love to cuss. So tell me, Cassandra, now that I finished the show, I got to go to comments. That's
No,
why.
you're all right. We can do that for you.
Because
Yeah,
I was
we'll do it all.
looking at the private chat. That was not good at all. Thanks, Heather. I'm sorry you had to go, but that's cool. Thanks, Stacy. You're welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Oh, Tracy, let me throw you a Bieber heart. I so appreciate it. That's a wonderful compliment. Please be in touch. Thank you, Serena. Thank you, Heather. Oh, thanks lifting the lid. Thanks lifting the lid. Thanks, Heather.
Yeah, we were enjoying
You guys
it.
were
we're
very
fans.
what? We have another American. I mean,
Yeah.
generally I like Europeans better. And Heather, I'm sorry about what happened in Virginia, but hello to Richmond. We're a region. Did you guys know that in England?
No.
DC,
No.
MV.
No.
Okay, that's
No.
it for the comments. Great.
Oh no.
Thanks,
Laura's
Laura.
just
Super
getting
awesomeness. Good use of the word awesomeness. All right. I'm going to catch my breath for a second, and then maybe you can react. I'm a little exhausted from the show. But in a good way.
Oh my gosh, that was wonderful.
Oh,
What
yeah.
a Saturday night.
No, I'm going to move this over. No, I have such a crappy chair in here. I'll just stay standing.
Yeah.
I am back.
Don't sit yourself down.
No, I literally have only a stool, which I use to hang up my bootleg curtains. Folks, we are really Hollywood in Columbia, Maryland. But maybe with like a pillow.
Yeah. Make it
Make
comfy.
yourself comfy.
Yeah. For the record, one of the best tips I ever got when you're chaplain and you're moving room to room is if the chairs in the facility are bad, consider getting a camp chair and traveling with it. Or if it was a facility I went to a lot, I would figure out where did they keep the folding bridge chairs, because those are often more movable and portable than the hulking, like institutional 600-pound chairs that you'll hurt yourself trying to move.
You have to shimmy in it.
Yeah, and the
big
thing
one.
is, I mean, of course, we're talking pre-COVID, and we can talk about this in our Q&A, but like, there, now you can see there's a carpet and a floor. Yeah, pre-COVID, I know what I'll do. I'll do this. The sitting down camera work. Pre-COVID, chaplaincy was all about proximity. You know, you heard in a few of the song lyrics, hold your hand, you know, the beautiful lullaby where Leroy's dying. It's white, kiss your, I flubbed the lyric, but it's supposed to be kiss your face, something your cheek, stroke your cheek. It's very intimate, not in any kind of sexual romantic way, but like the act of being with someone at the end of their life.
Yeah.
Being close with them at a time that really they might be alone or their loved ones are with them, but it's not, you know, there are Hollywood deaths. And in my musical, in a certain sense, I play with the fantasies that we have about death and dying, in that my nearly dead characters are able to get out of their bed through the magic of theater. And any of you musical fans, there's a little bit of a reference to both the Green Day musical, whatever that's called, where they have the people get up, and also Hair, more importantly, where in a number, all the GIs are in the hospital bed and they have this like drug trip and they get up and dance, right? You can't do that in real life, but in theater, you can get up and dance. We play with that throughout the play. I'm going to drink some water, Who's got a question?
Who's got a question?
Yeah, please go ahead and pop any questions you have for Ben.
In the chat. Well, what's the response been like, Ben, when so far to the work?
Oh, thanks so much. It's been beautiful. A lot of people are telling me and the team that they're really moved by the work, and especially the songs. I mentioned in the introduction that we have had 2 live workshops, so we got more of a sense of what it's like when we put on the play. What you folks, pardon me, not you fuck, you folks in England, and you fucks in England, everyone around the world on the internet, you got to enjoy the truncated or abbreviated version, what I call the cabaret show, because I can't do dialogue. I'm good, but I'm not that good. I can't do dialogue with accents. There's some people who do one-man shows at different accents. I did like a light West Indian accent. I'm still not sure how good or offensive that is. Hopefully not the latter. But I'll tell you, in a real version of the show, we are able to, it's a real United Colors of Benetton cast, because Leroy is one of the principals. He's an elderly African-American man. His wife, or no, it's his sister. He's an aging bachelor, probably gay. But, 100-year-old Black men didn't come out, right? They just lived as bachelors and never got married. Yeah. So there are other characters we get to know in the full-length play, because dialogue and time and space gives us a chance to meet more. I like to tell people it's like Fiddler on the Roof meets A Chorus Line. Fiddler on the Roof, in that the main character is very much having his dialectic, talking with God, trying to navigate a lot of change in his life, and he's a little bit lonely, a little bit of a schlemiel, a fool. Right? Chorus Line, because in Chorus Line, the actors step forward and use song as monologue. So you heard 2 songs tonight. Let's see, Will It Still Snow is the female patient's monologue, wondering about will life go on after her death. The gospel song that I sang tonight is the character song for Leroy, the older African-American gentleman, where he's feeling praise and feeling spiritual. And to be clear, guys, the feelings and the stories are a little bit of a composite, but I'll tell you, the feeling of praise and holiness was one of the more surprising experiences I had in my 1,200 hours of training as a chaplain, right? Not everyone has a moving spiritual experience, but some people do, if they're ready for it. For some, it's painful. For some, it's joyful. For some, it's angry. And I try in the full-length play to explore more of those feelings, and we get that more in the dialogue. In this cabaret version, though, I still think many of those feelings are there in the songs.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, you can really tell. I mean, it's even in that small little section, you feel like, they're not like separate songs. It really feels like it's a whole piece.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, you made me cry the first time that you sang to me when we did our Zoom meeting, and then you made me cry again.
Oh, well, I'm delighted to make you cry, Victoria. My wife says I'm some sort of sadist because I like that, but my composer friend Jason, the first guy I worked with, he said, Ben, if you can make a room full of people cry, you've got a superpower.
Yeah.
The very first song that I wrote was Will It Still Snow? I performed that in public. That was the very first song I shared. Melody was different. It wasn't fully edited yet, but like the crux of it, this wondering about what is life like after I die, that was very moving and impactful to a room full of, I want to say 20 fellow songwriters. Half the room was in tears. And after that little song swap session ended, the leader, actually a friend and mentor of mine named Sue Horowitz, shout out to Sue Horowitz, look her up on the internet. She's amazing, new album coming out soon. Anyway, Sue Horowitz said to me, Ben, what you shared today was really powerful. Is there more material? I said, there is. She said, you need to keep working on it. And the second thing she said that was important, she said, clearly you're good at making a sad ballad. Can you write a funny song? Can you write a sexy song? Can you write an angry song? Can you write a rock song? And that was an important piece of advice for me. If you think about Chorus Line or Fiddler or famously Hamilton with its 8 billion songs, you want in a musical to have like a variety of styles, of tempos, of feelings. I wish for the future I might have a backing track that has more than just piano, because when I've done this live, having a drum, having a guitar, it rounds out the sound. Anyway, I see a question.
We have a question from
Happy
Tracy.
hands.
Some of the songs, particularly the question song, would be great training for hospice volunteers. Have you thought of using it that way?
Well, Tracy Brown, I appreciate that suggestion. That's lovely. I did have the pleasure of presenting this work to a chaplaincy conference in the United States led by my former trainer, Jeff Teo. Shout out to Dr. Teo out in Arizona with community care chaplains. So he had a conference of 40 or 50 trainees, and I presented this, and then we had an extended length discussion afterwards about the work itself, and then we talked a little bit about issues regarding caregiving within the show, because even though you don't see a ton of it in the cabaret, in the full-length work, I pay a lot of attention to the emotional journey of young Rabbi David. Remember, at the start, he's not good at his job, and he's reeling from grief, having lost his parents. That's a tough double whammy carry in life. I'm not good at what I'm doing, and the people I would turn to are gone, right? Many of us who have lost parents can relate to how hard that is. Many of us who have had a hard time starting a job can relate to that. Put together, he really struggles. But he kind of finds his way when he pulls back. And those questions, Tracy, absolutely are useful for hospice volunteers, for sure. That technique, by the way, for anyone who hasn't heard the term life review, it is a clinical term. So I don't think I can copyright the word life review. I can copyright life review, the Hospice Musical, etc. But it is a real thing that clinicians do. I was trained in doing this as a chaplain. Social workers, therapists do it, especially with terminal patients who are still communicative. That's the key thing, right? Someone's in the ICU with a tube down their throat. You can't do a life review because they can't talk. But a cancer patient is often communicative until the end. Parkinson's, they might lose their speech. End-stage Alzheimer's, not so much. But if you can talk with someone, even before they're about to die, I would encourage all of the viewers at home to have a conversation with your loved one, maybe inspired by my song tonight, or just the conversation you've always wanted to have. If any of you have one of these, I'm not endorsed by Apple, but they make a nice cell phone, and I understand Android also shoot video. All joking aside, in the olden days, we would do elder interviews with cassette tapes, right? And I think I have some cassettes of interviews of my deceased grandfather. I'd love to hear him sometime. In this day and age, we can videotape. We can use platforms like this, Zoom and so forth, and press record, and then have a live conversation with our loved ones. If you're watching and you have any loved ones who you love, who are older than 0 and know how to talk, you should interview them on camera, especially if they're a little older than you. Okay, stepping off the soapbox, that's a good one. It's not as funny as you fucks from England, but the soapbox, it's because I haven't had dinner yet. You guys are going to the bar. I'm going to supper. In terms of training, though, Tracy, I do appreciate that. I think volunteers, the most important thing they need to learn is to enter, maybe like, there are certainly some nitty gritty about like asking for permission to enter and like the approach when you're new to the death and dying or the seriously ill. You have to get over some emotional hurdles, right? Let's be real. And I think this is a big reason, raison d'etre of lifting the lid, right? We're trying to take away some of the scariness because it is part of life, even if we wish it weren't. So when you're a chaplain and certainly a volunteer, you need to willingly step into the room. I'm going to pantomime here and say, hello, would you like a visitor? And one of the hard things you have to learn is sometimes people say yes, and sometimes they say no. I don't know if there's any other caregivers here, but like when you're a therapist, the people book an appointment with you, and hopefully they show up. They might blow you off, but they mostly come. When you do rounds in a hospital, they may or may not want to talk to you.
Mm.
Same in a nursing home, same in a hospice. That is challenging when you're a volunteer. When you're a professional, hopefully you get used to it, and you probably have more people than you have time for. So in a weird way, when someone says no thanks, it's like, okay, I can mark it in my book. I knocked. They said no thanks. It's not a little trade secret that sometimes we are relieved when we can't talk to everyone, because when we can talk to everyone, we still can't talk to everyone. Follow that? Let me see. Building on Tracy B's question. Oh, would you one of you read that, please? Because I'm the
Yeah.
guy.
I'll read it.
Right.
So from Tracy C, we're building on Tracy B's question. I see this musical as a way of providing meaning, connection, hope, and even celebration in overwhelmed hospice nurses and care aides. Have you shared your work with this group? Thoughts?
Well, Tracy, thank you for the wonderful suggestion and the kind words. Yeah, this virtual tour is a funny thing because I can make an appearance in all kinds of venues, and so many professional conferences have now gone either virtual or hybrid. So I am hoping, I mean, look, a year ago when I launched my virtual tour in January 2021, I really hoped that next spring would be back on stage. It's possible that there's some regional theaters near DC where I live, near Baltimore where I live, where they might want to try staging this. I don't know. But theaters in live right now are kind of in a hard way.
Yeah.
You know, we know that. I don't need to go into that industry. However, the world of conferences and training marches on regardless of the pandemic. Yeah. We know that every hospice needs to do in-services and orientations. There's also a possibility that this work can be used as a fundraiser. So if any of you are affiliated with nonprofits and you want to talk to me about a benefit, please be in touch. But I do think, Tracy, there's a lot here that is useful and relevant for professionals because let's be real. I as far as I know, this is the first time a hospice chaplain has been singing and dancing on stage along with a hospice nurse. And the two heroes are the chaplain and the nurse, which I'm very proud of. The nurse is a stand-in for the whole medical staff. If you don't know hospice, you know, or if you know hospice, rather, excuse me, if you know hospice, you know that the nurses do most of the medical care. The doctors are wonderful, and they're like sort of the grand poobahs of everything, and they're kind of signing off on meds. The nurses are really there close, loving, and holding on to the patients, and the chaplains are there singing and praying with the loved ones. So I would be absolutely delighted, Tracy, to present this to conferences, small, medium, and large. Anyone who's seen this tonight who are involved with any nonprofits, whether you're in England or Australia or United States or anywhere else, I'd be delighted to be in touch. Just go to that website, do an inquiry form, and I'd be happy to call you, even at weird hours, because I have issues with time zones. But I'm going to get through it, you know, like the chaplain. I'm going to try to grow. I do want to say that when I shared this group with a bunch of chaplains, the conversation that followed, while originally intended to be about sort of caring for the caregiver, which is kind of the hottest topic in the business right now, as we all face burnout and staffing issues, we also went into some of the spiritual issues. The song that is my, quote, I wish song, the big sort of rock ballad, Send Me a Sign, a lot of people of faith have shared with me that song is especially meaningful because, and here's a little secret, guys. I went to seminary 5 years. I'm a real cantor. I do weddings, the whole nine. I worked in synagogues before I became, you know, this guy. We have our own struggles with faith. Every person of faith you've ever met, whether they're a chaplain, a priest, an imam, a rabbi, a cantor, any other person of faith, or even like a layperson, like a deacon or a volunteer in a church, synagogue, mosque, etc. No one is 100% faithful and certain in their faith in God at every moment. And the fact that the chaplain made his big, tragic mess up early on by citing Job is purposeful. Anyone who studies the Bible knows that Job is one of the most challenging works theologically because why? God is playing a game on a man defined as righteous and good and believing. And then God kills his family and God makes him poor. And it's in like this weird bet with the devil. I'm paraphrasing here, but I'm not telling it wrong. So to bring up Job, like God was bad to the children of Job. Like, not a good move in hospice to a woman whose son is dying, because it assumes in a terribly unfunny and maybe playful way, like, maybe God has decided your son is righteous and therefore he's killing him. Here's the thing, though, folks. When people talk about bad things to say to dying people or the loved ones of dying people, in the top 5 is they're going to a better place. It's all this like projecting, proselytizing bullshit that really turns my stomach. And I'm a religious man, or at least a man of faith. I don't ever want someone to give me, in my moment of agony, their projected take on the theology of my loss. It's not their business. And I can tell you, just recently, my wife's best friend from college lost her husband from suicide, and it was a shocking tragedy, as suicide always is. And my wife was part of this tight group of friends that basically protected the widow from well-meaning people saying awful stuff. People can't help it because they're not trained clinically. They really mean well, but you can imagine for any loved one, especially a horrible suicide, like, people really want to say something nice and helpful, and a lot of times they say the wrong things. It's instructive that our hero, who went to rabbi school, who's a professional chaplain, in a moment of well-meaning weakness, says something that breaks the heart of a patient's mother, right? That's something that a lot of us can recognize, even if we're not chaplains, because I think anyone who's loved someone who has lost, we've probably had good moments of supporting our loved ones, and we've probably had embarrassing moments. You know, I've done probably 30 or 40 funerals at this point in my life. They weren't all smooth. I don't want to go into like funeral bloopers. Maybe next year we'll do that late night panel of chaplains and officiants. But I mean, we laugh about it, but it's kind of a tense and intense time. And part of the reason why I wanted to create a musical comedy and not just like a heartbreaking 4-hour slog like Angels in America, amazing work that it is, it's not fun. It's not fun. It's like devastating, and it's super long. I wanted my play to be playful, a la Neil Simon, with a lot of funny banter. It's a very talky play. You guys didn't get too much of that because it's the narration in lieu of dialogue. But the truth is that the magic in hospice care happens in these conversations. Unfortunately, when we're dying, in hospice care, we can't have long conversations the way we see in my play. That's fanciful. But the conversations that happen are meaningful. And I guess that's really what I'm trying to spread with this work of theater, that the fact of dying, while sad and certainly in the moment heartbreaking, is not in and of itself tragic. And the fact that our loved ones are going to be going to hospice or hospitals to die is super sad and difficult and inevitable and okay. No one wants to have their loved ones in hospice, but I got so many thank you cards after the fact because we, the care team, worked together to try to make this difficult time a little bit less heartbreaking. To quote the song, "We will walk with you while you're on your way. We will talk with you so you have your say. Be here by your side until the final day. We are here for you, so live until you die."
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I was going to say, I love the way that you sort of, like you said with the rabbi, you show that people are infallible, you know, sort of, and the other thing when you said about protect people saying the wrong thing, the other thing that people do is not say anything because they're so terrified. So to say something. So yeah.
On the nose. And let me say yes, and Victoria, to all of you watching at home, you don't have to be wise. That's like the key lesson we learned from the rabbi. When you try to be wise and helpful, that's when you step in it. What you should do is show up. In the age of COVID, it is more difficult. There are like safety issues. We know about that. But again, I did my shameless plug for the iPhone. Again, Android's cool too. Whoever wants to sponsor the play, I'm down. But seriously, folks, in the age of technology, you can visit people. My chaplain friends who kept working through COVID, they kind of became tech assistants. I knew people who had like a whole car trunk full of iPads and chargers, because iPads were great for doing Zoom meetings and you could hold it up. Who would have thunk it? No one could have written this screenplay. I guess some people tried to, but
yeah,
it's been a crazy time, but we have learned through the technology to connect. I mean, look, I'm having a deep conversation with the three of you sitting in my basement across the pond. But I felt it when I was singing before, and I hope you guys, wherever you were, felt it on the receiving end. That's an amazing thing we didn't know we could do 2 years ago. So we can make connections with the technology as a medium. Again, this is the same soapbox thing that former chaplain says. I've seen too many people die alone. It is not a fact or a certainty that people have their loved ones gather. It's really sad. I've seen so many funerals where people say, oh, me and dad, we weren't talking. Like, I understand family rifts happen. I love my father. He's a little difficult. And I've chosen in my life to stay in his life. There are people who might have a difficult parent and they're like, it's not worth it. I've met those people at their parents' funeral and they're often swimming in regret. So public service announcement. If you're not ready to see them in person, maybe you can FaceTime. If you're not ready to see them on camera, maybe you can call. If you're not ready to hear their voice, maybe you can text. If you're not ready for real-time communication, maybe you can write an email or a letter. That person may still be angry or resentful until the day they die. They will never regret having heard from you. They will never be angry for your overture, especially if it's a letter that attempts to show gratitude and love rather than undo the old acrimony. Sometimes the old acrimony just goes into the ground with the casket. But one of the great lessons of hospice that maybe is not in the musical so much, but it is, it's the importance of telling our story. I didn't invent this idea. I didn't steal it from Hamilton either, but like, it is one of the great privileges of having created this work is that I've been able to shine a light on some very private moments and very quiet moments that no one sees. You don't usually see a chaplain playing a lullaby to a patient who might be falling asleep or maybe dying. You don't see that. The chaplain does. The dying patient does. Maybe the loved one is in the room, maybe not. A lot of times, fun fact about hospice, a lot of times the person waits till their loved ones leave the room to die. Right? So we don't usually see it. So I'm honored to share some of these moments. Some are a little fanciful, some are a little bit playful, but they are real. They are real. And I'm honored to share through song and stories this work with your audience tonight, Victoria and Joe and Cassandra. I wonder, are there any more questions? I see the chat is no longer blowing up and it's already 6:18 my time, which is
singing,
like,
Benjamin. That's why the chat stopped blowing up. Do you have a favorite song? I said it's because you've stopped singing. Do you have a favorite song?
From the group you shared tonight? I mean, as a work of songwriting, Life Review, because I pull off a nice little trick wherein I look at the camera and I'm able to, or if it's a live audience, look at the audience and I can ask the questions to you. Who are you? What did you do? Where did you go? Who did you know? And everyone has an answer to that. Everyone can answer the story or the questions and tell their story. The other one I'm particularly fond of is probably the opening number. I'm a funny guy and it's fun to write a funny song. And when I do the big reveal, I saw you had a session earlier today called Spoiler Alert. So I need to meet that speaker like in the virtual bar and have a virtual martini.
But check it out in the recordings in the replay area.
Yeah, you can do it.
Oh, good plug for the replay.
Yeah.
Wow, this festival is great. Have you met the organizers?
High tech. so is it your dinner time now?
It is. And I
It
just
is.
got a text from my wife saying, we're actually going out to the theater.
Oh,
We're seeing a high school play. So theater IRL is happening. We're going to be masked. I just got vaccine boosted. Woo! Let's be safe, everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, I've also learned how to sing through a mask because I'm a chorus teacher in a public school. So
Oh God.
in the end, I thank you for staying till the end. In the end, it's so exhausting. Any music teachers in there, blow up the chat. Don't ever sing with a mask on. It's horrible. I'm like faint half the day. But that meant tonight's gig, just an hour singing with no mask on. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. I so enjoyed this. And let me say again, I'm so honored to be part of your festival. This is the first time I've ever shared my music in England, let alone outside the United States. So very exciting for the project. And I know England is the historic birthplace of hospice care. Something I learned when researching the show and during my hospice, chaplaincy and training. So that second song, any of you who've ever studied Cicely Saunders, I actually used some quotes from her writings in that song, Live Until You Die. So it's not just tongue in cheek that she's thumbing through a book. She's actually singing quotes from the good dame herself about living until you die. That's very much the hospice philosophy. And it is my parting wish for all of you still on the call, that all of you may live all the days of your life. And then when you're ready to die, that you may do so in peace and in the presence of your loved ones and qualified caregivers. And until then, I hope it's also filled with fun and love and good food and rock music or whatever music you like. Maybe
I want to make sure I see the whole
all that good stuff. Because life is an amazing blessing and it's an adventure until it's over. I mean, when kids ask me, Cantor, why do we have to die? I say, dying is a bummer, but if we didn't die, we would never want to do anything. We just hang out at home, like, I'll do it next week.
Yeah.
Right. So the fact of our mortality is what makes life so precious.
Absolutely.
And I try in the different characters in the show, some you met tonight and some you'll have to meet when you book my show in real life.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Or the full length version,
I don't want to
right?
die
Maybe
before
next
I've
year.
seen your show.
Maybe next year.
Yes.
But you know, all of those characters, I celebrated them because every person in hospice matters when you do it right. You know, the person who has an incredible life, the guy who played gospel music for 70 years, to me, that's incredible. He was based on a real life person who was mostly a civil servant, and he got to shine on Sundays. During the week, he was a bureaucrat in the Board of Education. Yeah. But he lived an incredible life, that man. And he did live more than 100 years. I met a man who claimed to be CIA and Mossad. I can't verify his story, but that's a sexy story. Ooh, you're a spy. Yeah. But guess what? In the end, he dies in a hospice bed.
Yeah.
And I met a woman who was the wife of a band leader who lived a glamorous life adjacent. And I also met a guy who was he worked hard in blue collar work to pay for his mortgage and get his kids into college. Right. And every one of those people, to the listeners, wherever you are, maybe some of them catch your ear like, oh, that's an interesting life. But I like to remind people, like, whether our lives have been New York Times obituary, or what's your newspaper, Times of London obituary worthy, or just a life well lived, or even a life lived ? You know, I don't know that we can really say objectively if this life is well lived or not. But we try our best. And if you believe that God created all of us in God's image, then all of our lives are blessed. And with that message, I leave you tonight that all of us, I personally believe, are made in God's image. We say in Hebrew, B'Tselem Elohim. And if you are made in God's image, if you believe that, then you are holy even when you're broken, even when you're dying, you are whole. As my song said. So I bless all of you and thank you so much for listening. Please be in touch. If you have any feedback, check out the website, send me a feedback form. I'd love to be in touch. Whether or not you want to book me, any theater lovers, we are still in development. So any feedback you're giving on this particular work of theater you saw online tonight, It's all helpful for me. So thank you so
Oh.
much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you so much.
Ben.
Thanks.
Thank you. Oh,
Enjoy your show.
Thank you so much.
Bowing. Thanks for staying to the end, guys.
oh my God.
Of course.
Thank you everyone for watching.
Meet
We're
me
gonna,
at the pub.
gonna
Can I say in the chat, meet me at the pub in Maryland? Anyone in Maryland? Just kidding. Everyone go to the cool pub in England, the one with the British people in it. You guys have pubs, right? That's a British thing.
Oh, yeah.
We call them bars, and then we say the R at the end. Check it out. Bar.
Bar.
Isn't that weird? Do you mean
Bar.
You
bar?
don't have to tip in our box either.
I had to promise my wife I wouldn't pull out my terrible British accent, and yet I did it right under the wire.
Go and enjoy your dinner, and thank you.
Thank you
Ben.
so
Thank you so much.
Kisses to
We'll speak
everyone
to
in
you
England and
soon.
around the world. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.